Are you a bit of a contrarian? Is The Godfather 3 your favorite of the trilogy? What about Batman? Is George Clooney your favorite one? If that's the case, then you're probably gonna like this car. It's the 2015 Nissan Juke. And as you can tell just by looking at it, it loves to be different. The Juke's looks are polarizing to say the least. I mean, just look, there's a lot going on up here. It has this big Cheshire grin of a grille and big owl eye fog lights right here. Plus these sleek angular headlights that stretch back under the hood are actually visible at night. Nissan really packed a lot into the front end of this small car. The front end isn't the only part of the car that looks funky though. That theme is carried throughout. The sloping roof and curves over the wheel wells make the profile very interesting to look at as well. And you could place a water bottle on these taillights. See? How many cars can you do that with? Here at the back, the Juke really isn't that impressive when it comes to cargo space. With the seats up, you're only gonna get 11 cubic feet. Now, you can just pull this little lever right here and fold both of the seats down, and that's gonna get you 36 cubic feet, but overall, it's still on the low end of the class. With a name like the Juke, you'd expect this car to be pretty sporty. And thanks to the 1.6 liter, 188 horsepower turbocharged engine with 177 pound-feet of torque, Juke actually lives up to its name. Even though it's paired with the CVT, it still is actually a pretty fun car to drive. When you get in the car, you're gonna notice that sort of funky, strange exterior styling was carried into the interior as well. The seats are comfortable, however, and the leather's nice, and I like that they kind of carried some subtle hints of that red other places. So you'll find the same shiny, glossy plastic red here on the door, but you'll also get this sort of red and black cloth here on the door. The seats have some nice red threading to them. You have your touchscreen up top, which you get with a lot of cars nowadays. You've got the radio that you can control, and you got navigation, your map, all of that different stuff, your apps there. You have another screen. It's not a touch screen. It's actually behind some plastic here, so it's set back a little bit. And that's where you're gonna find your drive modes, and each drive mode is accompanied with a few mode-specific readouts. It seems a little bit unnecessary for this car. It's also a strange setup, but it just seems like it's something they could have incorporated all into one display. And even if they made that display a little bit bigger than it is now, it would still have saved some space, and it wouldn't be quite as much going on here on the center console. Another good aspect of this is the fuel economy. You get 26 city, 31 highway for an average of 28. So the acceleration isn't that bad for this car. I mean, it's not gonna probably blow your socks off, but it's better than I thought it was gonna be. And a lot of these cars in this class that look sporty, when you get behind the wheel, they're generally not that fun to drive. Overall though, I was pleasantly surprised with how this car drives. I honestly wasn't expecting too much of it. I mean, I've been burned too many times getting behind the wheel of sort of a sporty looking crossover and then having it just not be pleasant to drive. But this one is a lot better than I expected. Yeah, it sacrifices a little bit in the way of cargo space or backseat passenger space, but if you're buying a small crossover, you're probably not really looking for that much space, so it's not that big of a deal. The best way to describe the 2015 Nissan Juke is to say it's a very interesting car. It has this strange mixture of good and bad that ventures to the extreme in both cases. It's a car of peaks and valleys, but oddly enough, those peaks and valleys average out to make it one of the better options in the class. So if you're on the I like it side of the styling and the negatives that I mentioned don't seem that bad to you, the 2015 Nissan Juke is a car that should definitely have your curiosity. It actually kind of lives up to its name.